Like a lot more eyes. Like for real, for real. I feel like I'm like in a little bit of a dream, but it's just super dope, super cool. I don't know if I ever seen myself on like this many billboards and pictures, so this is really good. Oh, now it's really real, huh? This is dope. Okay. I gotta get used to 2.5. This is my first time.
Something unexpected went down in Indiana, and it's shaking the WNBA to its core. No big press conferences, no spotlight, no orchestrated moments, just a quiet entrance that has the league scrambling to figure out what's next.
On the court, Bonner bangs it home. Bonner, the logo 3, at the shot clock mounting in this game.
Bonner makes her career best.
Bonner hits the 3.
Bonner launches over. Sabally got the 3.
DeWanna Bonner, two-time WNBA champion, future Hall of Famer, and one of the most respected vets in the game, made her way into Indiana without a hint of drama. No waiting around. And where did she go first? Right to the gym. Her work ethic is impeccable. She is exactly the type of player that the Indiana Fever needed.
Similar to what DB said about the competitive fire you all had, the moment you had in the playoffs last year, all those things. How do you think your competitive fire can mesh with hers?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want. You want your teammates to be just as competitive as you are. So I think training camp's going to be really fun. That's when you're competing live. You know, you're getting after things. Coaches are figuring out what lineups work, what lineups don't. So I think it's more so like the drive of pushing your teammates to get better. And I think that's exactly what she speaks to when she talks about her leadership. Like, that's going to push all of us to get better when you can see a vet like that come in here and want to get better every single day still. And, you know, you're 12 plus whatever they are in their career. That's inspiring. That motivates you to want to be better too, but just exciting.
But waiting for her wasn't a coach, an agent, or a front office exec. It was no other than Caitlin Clark. Clearly the main reason DeWanna joined the team, so she was excited to see her.
Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. Pick up, rebound, back Finlay.
Futility from 3 for the Sparks.
Over there, Fag Finlay comes up with it. Here's Clark and Trent, leaves it behind for
Bears just win a 5.
They go 3s.
Yeah, they do. Nice.
The rookie sensation, the once-in-a-generation talent, the player every team in the league has been scrambling to figure out.
South Carolina players in this game, by the way.
Sure do.
Tiffany Mitchell, Alicia Gray.
South Carolina players in this game? Tiffany Mitchell, Alicia Gray, and the big question lingering? Why? Why would a battle-tested veteran skip the usual welcome parties to hit the gym with a rookie? This wasn't just a workout. This was a message to let everyone in the league know that they are coming prepared for the new upcoming season. And if you think this is just another off-season move, brace yourself for a rude awakening. The Indiana Fever has something big planned up their sleeve. The WNBA is on the verge of a major shift, and the Indiana Fever is right in the middle of it. This season is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a single moment.
What's up, Fever fans? DB here. So happy to be here, so excited. I'll see you guys in May.
No welcome parade, no PR stunt, no fluff. DeWanna Bonner didn't come to Indiana for the media circus. She came for one thing: business. A two-time WNBA champion, a future Hall of Famer, and one of the game's most respected veterans. But instead of basking in the spotlight or making a dramatic entrance, she went straight to the gym.
I'm just happy that I can still be a part of it, and I'm happy that I'm still wanted, you know, in different organizations and have the free agency that I had. And I'm coming to probably one of the best fan bases in the world right now, so I'm pretty honored to.
No cameras, no distractions, just pure focus. That's not a casual arrival. That's a message. When a player of Bonner's caliber bypasses the theatrics and heads straight to work, it's clear she's got unfinished business. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Bonner isn't stepping into Indiana as the face of the franchise. She's not here to demand the ball, dominate games, or make a statement. She's taking on a role most superstars would avoid, a supporting piece to an already budding young core.
I'm coming to probably one of the best fan bases in the world right now.
That's almost unheard of in professional basketball, where ego usually collides with team chemistry. But for Bonner, this isn't about status, it's about strategy. She sees something special in this Indiana squad, and she knows exactly how to take it to the next level.
The way they came back the second game, it just makes you excited to, you know, okay, I want to be a part of that. They didn't lay down and quit. They came back and actually try to beat us early, you know, that next game. So it just shows a lot about their character and how hungry they are. And
her first move in a Fever uniform made one thing obvious. She's here to win, and she's not wasting a second. She's linking up with the player poised to redefine the league, Caitlin Clark. This isn't just mentorship, it's about building chemistry, trust, and ensuring Indiana isn't just competitive, but dominant.
Time and his third, currently 5 catchings for second.
Time and again, Bonner's message is simple. Clark doesn't need someone to shape her. She's already built for this moment. That's what makes this move so dangerous for the rest of the WNBA. Because if you thought Bonner was just here to mentor Clark, think again. She's here to partner up, to sharpen her, to elevate her. And if that playoff battle was any sign, these two aren't just going to coexist, they're going to dominate. Let's be real. DeWanna Bonner could have gone anywhere. Teams lined up, contenders made their pitches. She had the leverage to choose a championship-ready roster. But she chose Indiana, a team still finding its stride, a franchise that, just a couple years ago, was an afterthought in the playoff hunt. That's not just a decision, that's a statement. A player of her caliber doesn't make a move like this unless she sees something the rest of the world hasn't caught on to yet.
Or as alive, but there has been a confirmation. There has been, well, as good as a confirmation from the draft. And it's unfortunate they leaked the expansion draft, or at least leaked part of the expansion draft.
As the new franchise made its much-anticipated entrance, speculation soared about how the Valkyries would build their inaugural roster. Naturally, Caitlin Clark became a focal point in these discussions, celebrated for her exceptional scoring prowess, long-range three-point shooting, and strong leadership on the court. Caitlin has emerged as one of the brightest stars in women's basketball today. The potential addition of her talents to the Valkyries has generated tremendous buzz and anticipation among enthusiasts and analysts alike.
All right, there we go. We have our first 4 names of the reveal, and there they are. And just in case you didn't pick up on it, these names are being announced in alphabetical order from the teams of the W, so there's no ranking here in terms of who's most important. Your first thought?
In case you missed it, these selections are being announced in alphabetical order based on the teams, so there's no ranking in terms of importance. At first glance, you might assume Caitlin Clark would be among them, but when the draft results were revealed, an unexpected twist occurred. The Valkyries chose not to draft Caitlin Clark. This surprising decision left both fans and analysts stunned, igniting debates across social media platforms and sports broadcasts. The Golden State Valkyries' participation in the expansion draft marked a pivotal moment for the WNBA. It's a rare opportunity for a new team to build its roster from the ground up, and anticipation was high as fans watched to see their selections. While many anticipated bold moves, the decision to bypass Caitlin Clark, widely regarded as one of the league's brightest stars, created a wave of controversy and confusion within the basketball community.
As for the names on the back of the jerseys, we do have 4 more names that are about to be revealed in just a moment, but we do want to do a little table set of the Valkyries' notable games during what will be their inaugural season. They'll open the season in the Chase Center against the Sparks in a battle for Cali, some other marquee matchups as well. Defending champ Liberty May 27th, and they've got the Aces and Fever.
Her standout performance at Iowa made her a household name, and her seamless transition to the WNBA only heightened her impact. As a high-volume scorer and talented playmaker, she possesses the unique ability to draw crowds and secure victories. So, why did the Valkyries pass on drafting her when they had the opportunity? The reason stems from a combination of strategic planning, roster-building priorities, and the complexities of managing star talent within a newly established team. She is more than just a prolific scorer. She is a transformative player. Her knack for sinking three-pointers from seemingly unreachable distances and her exceptional court vision make her an invaluable asset. Additionally, she exemplifies leadership both on and off the court, frequently taking control during pivotal moments of the game. Any team would be fortunate to acquire her talents, or so it appears. However, constructing a new franchise goes beyond assembling star players. It involves ensuring the right fit, fostering chemistry, and implementing long-term strategies. This vision necessitated selecting players who could offer versatility and balance to their roster. Opting to draft a superstar like Caitlin Clark might have seemed like a straightforward way to make headlines, but it could have interfered with the delicate task of forming a unified and cohesive team structure. A prime example of the Valkyries' strategic selection is Temi Fagbenle. As an experienced center, Fagbenle brings defensive strength and leadership qualities that are crucial for any team seeking to establish its identity. However, her selection sparked surprise because it meant that Caitlin Clark remained with the Indiana Fever. Speculation among fans suggested that Fagbenle's departure from the Fever was closely linked to Clark's increasing influence within the team. Her on-court presence attracts media coverage, drives merchandise sales, and energizes fan communities. For the Indiana Fever, she serves as a cornerstone in their rebuilding efforts. Conversely, for the Valkyries, acquiring a player of her caliber might have introduced significant challenges. Effectively managing a star athlete requires substantial resources, both financially and in terms of team dynamics. Clark's playing style necessitates that the team's offense is centered around her. She thrives as a high-usage player who relies on having the ball in her hands. While this strategy can be effective for established teams with well-defined systems, it poses risks for a new franchise striving to find its balance. The Valkyries likely aim to prevent their entire identity from hinging on a single player, regardless of her talent. Instead, their focus was probably on assembling a more balanced roster, capable of evolving into a cohesive unit that can compete comprehensively without depending excessively on any one individual.
From the Atlanta Dream, the Golden State Valkyries select center Ileana Rupert.
Another layer to this decision is the Valkyries' emphasis on defense and versatility. Players like Fagbenle, Alana R., and Monique Billings offer flexibility across multiple positions, enabling the team to adjust to various matchups. While drafting Clark might have been tempting, it could have constrained their ability to build a well-rounded roster. Under the expansion draft rules, teams had the option to protect certain players. Unsurprisingly, the Fever chose to safeguard Caitlin Clark, effectively removing her from the Valkyries' selection pool. This move came at a price, leaving players like Fagbenle unprotected. For the Fever, this was a strategic gamble. They prioritized securing their star player, understanding that losing other valuable role players might be an unavoidable consequence. Protecting Clark underscores her significance to the Fever's future. She's not merely a player, but the cornerstone of their franchise. Losing her would have severely hampered their rebuilding efforts. Nevertheless, some fans believe that leaving Vag Bentley unprotected was a misstep, as she is a dependable contributor who brings both experience and grit to the team. By passing on high-profile players like Caitlin Clark, they signaled their commitment to constructing a team based on depth, teamwork, and strategic foresight. This method may not create immediate headlines, but it lays the groundwork for long-term success. Naturally, not everyone concurs with this strategy. Critics argue that the Valkyries forfeited an opportunity to secure a generational talent. Caitlin Clark's ability to attract fans and elevate her teammates makes her a rare asset in the WNBA. Opting out of drafting her could be viewed as a risky move, especially for a new team aiming to establish itself in a competitive environment. However, there's a valid argument supporting the Valkyries' choice. Building a successful franchise requires time and meticulous planning. While star players like Caitlin Clark can transform a team, they also introduce complexities both on and off the court. For the Valkyries, the expansion draft was about more than just acquiring talent. It was about establishing a foundation for a team capable of competing at the highest levels. As the Valkyries gear up for their inaugural season, all eyes will be on their roster decisions. Will their strategic approach yield positive results, or will they rue the decision to pass on players like Caitlin Clark? The outcome may not be immediate, but one thing is clear: this decision will be closely examined. Understanding the Valkyries' choice to forgo Caitlin Clark requires looking at the broader context. How will this impact the future of the Valkyries and Caitlin Clark's role with the Indiana Fever? Launching a new franchise carries the inherent pressure to make a significant impact quickly. Acquiring a player like Caitlin Clark would undoubtedly generate headlines and draw fans to the arena. However, a franchise's success isn't solely determined by hype. It's about winning games and cultivating a sustainable culture. The Valkyries appear to have prioritized balance over star power. A key aspect of this decision revolves around Caitlin Clark's compatibility with a new system. Clark is renowned for her dynamic, high-energy playing style. She's a high-usage player who excels in systems designed to highlight her individual talents. However, for a nascent team like the Valkyries, selecting a player of Clark's magnitude could result in a lopsided roster. The team might feel compelled to build entirely around her, potentially compromising depth and versatility. Historically, teams that secure elite talent early on often set themselves up for sustained success. Clark's ability to draw double teams, stretch defenses, and control the game's tempo makes her a generational talent. By passing on her, the Valkyries are essentially betting on their ability to discover comparable talent in the future, a gamble that may or may not pay off.
Unearned fame and fortune are far more destructive than they might appear. And right now, there's no organization on the planet that proves this point more than the WNBA. The league just posted its highest average game viewership in 24 years. They're bringing in massive new sponsorships, at least by the league standard. They're selling out arenas, which used to be unheard of for the WNBA.
Have you ever wondered why a star like Caitlin Clark is encountering criticism in the WNBA? It's not what you might expect. The league's audience numbers soared, player benefits got better, and women's basketball gained significant attention. However, suddenly, unexpected allegations began to emerge from seasoned WNBA players.
From the executives to the players to the reporters who, for their sins in a past life, have been cursed with the job of covering a women's basketball league, everyone should be overjoyed. But there's a big problem. All of this success, every bit of it, is due to the presence of one player in the league, and that is a generational talent named Caitlin Clark, who of course you've heard of, and still probably the only WNBA player whose name you know.
Matt Walsh isn't buying it. He's calling out the double standards, and trust me, he has the proof. He's armed with the data, the statistics, and he's not afraid to name names. Stay tuned as we uncover the explosive truth behind the WNBA's biggest controversy to date. You won't believe what some players are revealing behind the scenes. Ready? Let's dive in. Imagine this. Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, and the WNBA undergoes a complete transformation overnight. She's not just making an impact, she's changing the game.
She's the reason the WNBA just won the lottery. Without Caitlin Clark, nobody cares about any of these players or the league. With her, most people still don't care, but a lot more people care than did before. And everybody knows that, right? Therefore, everyone in the league other than Caitlin Clark is doing exactly what so many lottery winners do. They're allowing all of their worst personality traits to surface because they just can't help themselves.
The WNBA is undergoing an unprecedented boom. Viewership has soared to record-breaking heights, leaving executives in awe. Stadiums are packed to capacity, generating an electric energy that was once unimaginable in the WNBA. It's as if someone hit a power switch, and suddenly women's basketball has become the hottest ticket in town.
You know, there are a lot of stories out there about lottery winners who go on to destroy their lives. Something like 70% of them supposedly go bankrupt within a few years. It's not hard to see how that would happen. When you give a lot of money and attention to a person who didn't earn any of it, that person doesn't suddenly change overnight. Instead, more often than not, all of their worst character traits are amplified 10 times over, and in many cases, that leads to a very public and humiliating collapse. This is a principle that doesn't just apply to individuals, it turns out. It applies to organizations, too.
This surge in popularity is bringing in significant investments. Sponsorships and major deals are flooding in like never before. It's as though the floodgates have opened, and everyone wants a slice of the WNBA action. Players are enjoying enhanced benefits, and the league is attracting attention from unexpected sources with a surge of new fans. But here's the kicker. Not everyone is celebrating. Some players are voicing their frustrations. Can you believe it? Amidst all this success, underlying discontent is starting to surface.
There's been a lot of resentment in this league lately, in particular since the season began. And the thing about resentment, as we all know, is that it tends to fester over time. It gets worse and worse. That's exactly what we're seeing now.
It's truly perplexing. On one side, the league is finally gaining the recognition it has been yearning for. On the other, some players seem discontent with the very achievements they've been striving toward. Why? That's the million-dollar question. Are they envious of Clark's sudden rise to stardom? Concerned about what this means for their own careers? Or is there something more beneath the surface?
Race hysteria in the WNBA has somehow reached yet another inflection point. The league is currently in the midst of what really might be the single most contrived racism scandal, certainly in any professional sport, at least since the fake noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. Specifically, a bunch of WNBA players have come out claiming that they've been victimized by racial slurs and other forms of racist attacks. Like, a lot of players are claiming this.
Imagine this. The WNBA is soaring on an unprecedented wave of popularity, and then a bombshell hits that shakes the league to its very foundation. We're discussing explosive accusations of racism that threaten to dismantle women's basketball. It's like striking a match in a room filled with gasoline.
How do you feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now? And obviously the game has grown and there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's coming with them?
I appreciate the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against, because yeah, those might be opponents, but those are friends too. You know, they don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that.
Brittany Griner, one of the league's biggest stars, steps forward with a startling allegation. She claims that new fans are hurling slurs during games. Can you believe it?
The question that Brittany Griner was asked was about the massive growth of this league, which was dead in the water just a year ago and had been dead for its entire existence. And the reporter asked, what do you think of all the new fans? And like in any other context, when someone says, what do you think of all the new fans that are coming in? Usually it's, oh, it's great. We love how everybody is supporting the league and we're so grateful. None of that. Instead of some gratitude, some appreciation for the people who have saved the WNBA, who pay to come out to see bad players like Brittany Griner, instead of that, we get resentment.
Now for the details. None of these racial slurs have been confirmed, even though some are alleged to have happened during games. As far as I know, none of them have been captured on camera. Interesting. There's no visual or audio proof to back any of these claims. Not a single trustworthy report either. That's highly unusual, especially considering there are cameras and smartphones at every WNBA game. Walsh isn't holding back. He's stating it exactly as he sees it, asserting that these accusations are completely fabricated. It's a daring claim, but it's making people take notice. But let's slow down for a moment. Why would players fabricate something so serious? That's the million-dollar question sparking intense debates among fans and critics alike. Are they trying to create drama? Is there something else happening behind the scenes? If there were, the videos would be all over the internet, but they're nowhere to be found. They don't exist online. So instead, we're left having to rely on the players' statements. The entire situation is causing turmoil within the league. On one side, you have players feeling wronged and calling for action. On the other, there are skeptics like Walsh demanding solid evidence before making any judgments. And in the middle of it all, the fans, the sponsors, and the future of the WNBA itself.
Honestly, I grew up playing literally everything, and I was super competitive, so my parents kind of just tossed me out there and wanted me to like get my energy out, whether it was soccer, softball, golf, track. I really did it all. And then when I got into high school, I kind of knew basketball was my future, and I loved it, and I wanted to practice it, and I think that's what was different. I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to spend time working on my game, and that was probably what set that apart from all the other sports I played. They were just kind of like for fun with my friends. I was really competitive about it, but I didn't take extra time out of my day to go and work on my game and want to be better and be better than everybody else. So I think that's what kind of helped me figure out the path I wanted to take. And then I remember in high school, I played soccer and I was on varsity and I loved it, but my teammates would get mad because I would go and practice and work out and do basketball after school right before we had our soccer games, and they couldn't believe that I was doing that. So I eventually had to give up soccer, even though I loved it, but I think it was just...
Caitlin Clark has always been a force to be reckoned with. But what we're seeing now is something else entirely. The WNBA has officially been put on notice. Clark isn't just leveling up her game, she's evolving into an unstoppable powerhouse.
Number 22,
I think this is a good excuse to miss school.
Absolutely. To see your sister do that. Anna Stolke posting up, but you know who they go to. 22! Abby Marshall. Here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
The newest footage shows a Clark who's not just stronger, but downright dominant, and defenders have every reason to be seriously concerned. If you thought Clark was a threat before, get ready. It's about to get wild.
She has big in that opportunity. Clark for three, rattles for her first deep shot.
She's no longer just the sharpshooter we've all come to admire. She's been hitting the gym, packing on serious muscle, and gearing up to take the league by storm in ways we've never imagined. This is the kind of transformation that turns stars into legends, and we're here to break it all down. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA updates and in-depth takes on the biggest stories rocking the league.
Bumps had a good night here tonight. Points, she and Jackie Young leading the way at Clark. Boston screen, fire away.
Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was already a generational scorer, torching defenses with her endless range and fearless shot making. But there was one major flaw: physicality.
Effect! Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. I don't have that luxury. Nice give and go. Clark right at the cup. Rebound, back Binley.
Futility from 3 for the Sparks. 0 for 9. And
stuck in the air there. Fact Binley comes up with it. Here's Clark in transition where she's dangerous. Leaves it behind for...
Here's just 1 of 5.
How about Fact Binley running the floor? They go threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice concept, but
it won't go.
Defenders didn't hesitate to take advantage of her lean frame, bumping her off her spots, crowding her, and putting her in tough, uncomfortable positions.
Women's basketball has found its fame, and the reason for that is a 22-year-old playing in just her first WNBA season. Indiana Fever's point guard, Caitlin Clark, has already become the face of women's basketball, despite this being her debut year. To cap it off, Clark has won Rookie of the Year award, and she did that in some style, a unanimous choice of 66 of the 67 votes going in her favor. But it isn't just skill and accolades that make her the most popular face here on the basketball court. Clark's off-field antics.
Skeptics were loud. Could she handle the brutal physicality of the league? Was she just another college phenom who would falter against bigger, stronger, and faster opponents? Fast forward to now, and Clark has completely turned that narrative upside down. She didn't just accept the challenge, she went straight at it.
Which makes it some really good offensive.
Clark seeing direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage, and Boston trying to beat all their opponents for the first time since 2010. Clark shot fakes the 3, feeds inside to Boston for 2.
This offseason wasn't just about fine-tuning her already deadly jumper or sharpening her handles. It was about building a physique strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with the most physical defenders in the league. She made strength just as much of a priority as skill. And the results? Absolutely game-changing. Clark dove into an elite strength and conditioning program designed to pack on muscle without sacrificing the agility and explosiveness that make her a nightmare on the court. Trainers built a plan centered around core stability, lower body strength, and endurance, making sure she could take the hits and still finish strong. she fully embraced weightlifting, resistance training, and explosive movement drills, transforming herself into a more durable, battle-ready version of Clark.
Third quarter. Behind the back, Clark. A wide open shot. And wide open is Caitlin Clark, but she can't knock it down from up top. Tries it again from a different spot. That will connect.
The transformation is undeniable. She's stronger, more balanced, and now able to initiate contact instead of just taking it.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this. But it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths. Let's find different ways to get the ball to our players. And then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
The days of defenders pushing Clark around are a thing of the past. Now, she's the one setting the tone. And it's not just the fans and analysts who've noticed. Her coach, Stephanie White, has confirmed it too.
The new sights on the court here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That decal right at the spot where Caitlin hit that follow-away 3. The logo 3 to take the NCAA scoring record.
In a recent statement, White made it clear. Clark didn't just fine-tune her physique, she completely rebuilt it. This isn't a small tweak, it's a full-on evolution, and it's already having a massive impact on her game.
Play. It's up, it won't go down, and this building knows.
See Mitchell's going, what happened? For Caitlin, what a reaction by Kelsey.
Her arms are more defined, a clear testament to the hours of weight training she's put in. Her core is rock solid, keeping her balanced even when taking heavy hits. Her legs are built for explosive power, giving her that extra burst when driving to the rim and extending her shooting range beyond what was already elite. Clark has transformed herself into a physical powerhouse, and the results? Undeniable. The added strength is showing up everywhere in her game. She's attacking the basket with more power, finishing through contact instead of getting knocked off course. Defenders who once pushed her out of position are now the ones getting bounced back.
I guess he determined that Ariel Atkins had possession.
Clark, the switch on to Dolson, steps back.
Steph Dolson's in drop, and the screen is so...
14 from the field, but they've got a 5-point mark. Circling around, sets up Samuelson, who's wide open at 3.
Her three-point range has stretched even farther, thanks to the added power in her legs. But maybe the biggest change? Her defense. Clark can now stand her ground against bigger, stronger opponents, turning her into an even more dangerous two-way force.
Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold-out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league. So
the implications for the league are massive. A stronger Caitlin Clark isn't just a more lethal scorer. She's now a matchup nightmare for every team she faces. Physicality was the one weapon defenders had to try and slow her down. But with her transformation, that tool is completely off the table. Clark's added strength makes her even more dangerous. And now, opponents have to rethink everything. If she was already nearly unstoppable before, what does that make her now? Teams across the WNBA better start reworking their game plans, because the old strategies to contain her just became completely irrelevant. Every defender in the league will need to adjust, or they'll be left scrambling.
Caitlin Clark, she declined an invitation to participate in a special challenge during NBA All-Star Weekend next month. That's what Shams reported on Wednesday. Now, Clark's representatives, they expressed her desire to have her first three-point contest be at the WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Shanae, I'm not mad at it. What do you make of this decision?
Look, I not only respect it, I absolutely wholeheartedly support.
Well, it's official, you guys. Caitlin Clark is not competing in the three-point contest at NBA All-Star.
What happens when the biggest star in women's basketball says no to the NBA? Caitlin Clark, a record-breaking force and trailblazer on the court, just did exactly that. In a move that's sparking controversy and shaking up sports media, Clark turned down an invitation to join the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend. Rather than stepping into the spotlight as the NBA's special attraction, she's making a bold statement about where true recognition belongs. Stay tuned as we dive into how this decision is flipping the script and what it means for the future of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark knows how to use the word that many people struggle all their lives being able to use. Some of us never get it till we're old and just don't care no more. The word, take a guess. Take a guess.
Controversy, debate, and, of course, ESPN's outrage. Caitlin Clark, the beacon of the WNBA's future, has just declined an invitation to participate in the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend.
Well, it has just been confirmed from Shams that Caitlin Clark will not be competing in the NBA three-point contest. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will not participate in the NBA All-Star Special three-point shootout in San Francisco and wants her first three-point contest to be at WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Her representatives at Excel Sports.
Rather than celebrating her choice, the sports media exploded into chaos. Some argue she's simply dodging the competition, while others believe she's boldly championing the WNBA. So what's the true story behind her decision, and why is ESPN so incensed? Stick around because we're unpacking every detail right now. All right, let's jump in. The Caitlin Clark saga has been dominating headlines nonstop. In case you haven't caught wind of it, Caitlin Clark, the undeniable superstar of women's basketball, recently declined an invitation to compete in the NBA's three-point contest during this year's All-Star Weekend. And wow, opinions are flying everywhere. From ESPN to NBA fans and WNBA supporters, everyone is weighing in as the debate continues to heat up.
The momentum that Caitlin Clark has this season, with her being close to being the face of basketball, both men's and women's this year, I just thought it was the perfect stage. And then obviously, you know, the possibility of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson teaming up once again back in Golden State and doing that home reunion thing, and then having Sabrina and Caitlin. To me, it just sounded like so much fun, and it would definitely bring a little spark to NBA All-Star that NBA All-Star, unfortunately, hasn't.
Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in women's basketball right now. She's more than just a player. She's a phenomenon. Every time she steps onto the court, she shatters records, fills arenas, and pulls in huge TV audiences. So when she decided to pass on the NBA's invitation, it wasn't just a scheduling conflict, it was a powerful statement. One that clearly caught ESPN and many sports analysts off guard. So what prompted her to make this call? Is she intimidated by the competition? Did she miscalculate? Or is she strategically setting the stage for the future, making a power move that still has many scratching their heads?
Is another testament to where she is in the hierarchy of the sports food chain and, you know, the ladder of power and influence. Because Caitlin Clark is Steph Curry and LeBron James. Like, she's, you know, there's no difference. A great philosopher once said there's levels to this. She's on that.
Here's the reality about Caitlin Clark. She knows exactly what she's worth. She's not just some player thrilled to get an invite to a high-profile event. She understands that wherever she goes, the cameras roll, the money flows, and the fans rally. So when the opportunity to participate in an NBA event came along, She didn't jump at it like a rookie trying to prove herself. Instead, she made it clear, "Thanks, but I'll pass. I'll host my first three-point contest on my own terms, in my own league."
You see Caitlin Clark using her power to benefit the WNBA, saying, not that she would never do anything with the NBA, but that she's not going to do it this time because the first time should be with the WNBA in front of the Fever fans.
And that's exactly what's setting off a firestorm of reactions. For years, women's basketball players have been fighting tooth and nail for recognition, respect, and financial support. The WNBA has long been cast in the shadow of the NBA, and whenever a female athlete earns a smidgen of mainstream acclaim, there's this lingering expectation that she should be grateful for even the smallest scraps of attention from the men's league. But Caitlin Clark isn't subscribing to that narrative, she's rewriting it. She made it abundantly clear that she wants her inaugural three-point contest to take place at the WNBA All-Star Game, right in front of her hometown fans in Indiana. And let's be real, that's a savvy move. Why settle for being the NBA's special guest when she can be the headliner of her own show? Why help prop up the NBA's All-Star Weekend ratings when she can shine the spotlight on the WNBA instead? Of course, not everyone is on board with her decision. The moment she turned down the offer, sports analysts went into overdrive. ESPN pundits began to debate whether she was making a grave error, questioning her judgment, while the usual skeptics claimed she was merely dodging competition. Dodging competition? Come on. Caitlin Clark has never shied away from a challenge. She's been demolishing defenses and shattering records her entire career. If she really wanted to join the NBA's three-point contest, she'd be more than capable of holding her own. But that's precisely the point. She refused because she knows her worth, and she refuses to let others call the shots for her. Stephen A. Smith, as per usual, had a lot to say on the matter. For once, he actually backed Clark's decision, though not without throwing in some of his trademark commentary. He noted that last year's WNBA All-Star Game smashed records by drawing in 3.4 million viewers, while the NBA's All-Star Game struggled to hit numbers anywhere near its former glory. The NBA's All-Star Weekend has been losing its luster, no secret there, and it's obvious they were banking on Caitlin Clark to give them a ratings boost. Let's break that down for a moment. The NBA isn't exactly at its prime during All-Star Weekend. The dunk contest has lost its charm, and even the All-Star Game itself is treated more like a casual exhibition than a true contest. Viewership has been on a steady decline, and the overall energy just isn't what it used to be. So when Caitlin Clark enters the picture, a player who's been single-handedly driving TV ratings through the roof and filling arenas, it's clear the NBA saw a golden opportunity. And frankly, from their standpoint, it made total sense. Imagine the buzz. Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with the NBA's best in a three-point contest. The intrigue alone would pull in millions of viewers, but that's exactly why she declined. She recognized that she was being positioned merely as a ratings tool, and she wasn't about to let that happen. Let's not kid ourselves. If she had accepted, the aftermath would have been just as contentious, albeit for different reasons. A win might have been dismissed as merely a shooting contest, not genuine competition. A loss would have fueled claims that the WNBA just can't compare to the NBA. There was no scenario in which she could emerge unscathed in that setup. Instead, she delivered a bold message. The WNBA matters. She's not a novelty act or a side attraction for the NBA's All-Star Weekend. She's the star of her own league. This move might just be one of the most significant power plays we've seen from a women's basketball player in a long time. It's not about avoiding one contest. It's about transforming the narrative around the WNBA. For too long, critics have argued that women's sports depend on the men's leagues to survive, that without the NBA's support, the WNBA couldn't flourish. But Caitlin Clark is proving that theory wrong. She's driving ticket sales, setting new records, and making women's basketball a must-watch spectacle all on its own. Consider this. Just last year, the WNBA saw a surge in both viewership and merchandise sales. The Indiana Fever, the team Clark plays for, accounted for nearly half of the league's entire broadcast value. Half. That's a staggering figure, and it's all thanks to her influence. She's demonstrating that the WNBA doesn't need to rely on the NBA's leftovers to thrive. It can stand tall with its own stars, its own storylines, and its own dedicated fan base. That's why this decision is so monumental. She's setting a new standard. She's telling the next generation of female athletes, you don't have to latch onto the men's league for validation. You can be the main event in your own right. And the impact is already evident. What began as a decision over a three-point contest has blossomed into a full-blown conversation about the future of women's basketball. That's the magnitude of her influence. So yes, ESPN might be seething, the NBA might feel let down, and some fans might be left scratching their heads. But Caitlin Clark is in complete control of her narrative. She's playing the long game, building something far bigger than a single contest. And honestly, you have to respect that.